Did not continue with our reading articles because I'm really into reading articles, especially scientific articles. So today our news is wind and solar power overtakes coal for the first time ever in the US. This news has been published by Ben Turner about 14 years ago. I'm sorry, 14 hours ago in Life Science. Alright, so wind and solar power produced a combined 252 terawatt hours in the first 5 months of 2023, compared with the coal's output of 249 TWh. Wind and solar power has generated more electricity than coal for the first time ever in the US, according to new Virgil data. Wind and solar sources produced a combined 250 terawatt hours in the first 5 months of 2023, compared with coal's output of 249 TWh. Data from the US Energy Information Administration, seen by E&E News, had revealed. This marks the very first time that renewable energy has outperformed coal without including hydroelectric power in account. The milestone is a consequence of the continuing decline of coal usage in the US as coal facilities shut down and are replaced by renewable energy and natural gas energy sources. At its peaks in 2007, coal accounted for 49.9% of the US energy production. Our official estimates from the Electric Power Monthly show the combined electricity generation from wind and solar exceeded generation from coal in January, February, and March. Chris Higginbotham, a spokesperson for the EIA, told E&E News, "Our real-time data, which is subject to revision, indicate that trend continued in April and May." The news comes after a brief resurgence in coal demand last year, caused by the war in Ukraine and the rebounding of post-pandemic economies, both of which sent natural gas prices soaring. However, since then, a mild winter, a step up in natural gas production, and slowing global economic growth has driven down gas prices and subsequent demand for coal, according to the World Bank. The US has shut down around 14 gigawatts of its coal capacity, roughly 7% of its coal fleet, since the start of 2022. Since April 2022, US fossil fuel emissions have declined by 5.6%, according to the emissions tracker Carbon Monitor. This change reflects a shift in focus of U.S. energy policy toward more carbon-neutral energy sources, which has led to the closing down of many coal plants across the nation. We expect that the United States would generate less electricity from coal this year than any year this country. Joe DeCarolis, EIA administrator, said in a forecast in May, as electricity providers generate more electricity from renewable sources, we see electricity generated from coal decline over the next year and a half. However, fossil fuels still dominate the U.S. power generation. Natural gas is still the largest source of power in the country, accounting for about 39% of U.S. electricity in 2022. It is expected to fall to 38% this year and 37% in 2024. Okay, it is interesting, to be honest. So let's continue reading another article because I'm really into reading this. Alright, so another news relating to climate change, my favorite topic to talk about. Of course, I don't want climate change to accelerate. I just really want to explore more about climate change and to come up with some potential solutions to address this challenge. It doesn't mean that I want climate change to start developing. It is a misconception, to be honest. Anyway, so let's continue reading this. Is climate change making the weather worse? Dinosaurs might have experienced worse weather, but they didn't cause it. Climate change is primarily caused human activities is primarily responsible for climate change and the global warming. United Nations climate scientists say it's now or never to stop catastrophic temperature rises and a breakdown of the climate systems on which our way of life depends. Reports of bomb-like blizzards and searing droughts paints a terrifying picture of the possible reality of climate change. But are we actually witnessing the weather getting worse? Unfortunately, the answer is obviously a yes. Weather is getting worse for people in the US and globally. Like, the weather is affected severely from extreme weather conditions and from natural disasters such as droughts or, terrible and catastrophic blizzards and, you know, storms and hurricanes and typhoons and so much more. Um, Spencer Ward, a historian and retired director for the Center for History of Physics at the American Institute of Physics in College Park, Maryland, told Live Science, climate is the average of weather over time, and Earth has a long and dramatic history of natural climate change. Since the Jurassic period, from 252 million to 201 million years ago, may have ended with a million-year rainstorm, and the dino-killing asteroid hitting Earth at the end of the Cretaceous period plunged part of the sky into cold darkness for years under dense clouds of ash and particles. Earth's temperatures spiked for 100,000 years due to the colossal amount of carbon dioxide the asteroid kicked up when it smashed into the Yucatan Peninsula. A massive asteroid strike is still technically a natural event, a barely sad one for the dinosaurs. While major climatic swings are nothing new to our planet, they have been incredibly destructive in the past, and our current insatiable appetite for fossil fuels is setting in motion a rapid swing that could have dire consequences for humanity. We have a new word, it is actually insatiable. Look up, it means impossible to satisfy. Modern records reveal an unnatural global warming trend taking hold of Earth's climate in recent decades. By burning fossil fuels, humans are setting heat-trapping carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere that are raising global temperatures. Experimental data and climate models suggest that this warming will affect weather in a variety of ways, making it hotter and colder, more extreme, more chaotic, in a word, worse. For example, as the world gets warmer, more water evaporates from the surface of dry areas and increases precipitation in wet areas, according to Ward. In other words, dry areas get drier and wet areas get wetter. More moisture in the atmosphere in a warming planet can also lead to heavier snowfall during the winter. Ward pointed to severe North Atlantic hurricanes in the Caribbean and the US in recent years, as well as hurricanes or tropical cyclones around the world as examples of worsening weather. There's very little question that everywhere the hurricanes are getting worse, he said. We're not necessarily seeing an increase in the number of hurricanes, but the bad ones are becoming more severe. What would have been a Category 3 hurricane is a Category 4. What would have been a Category 4 is a Category 5, Ward said. Category 5 includes the strongest hurricanes with winds of 156 miles per hour or more. There's no Category 6 hurricane because the Saffir-Simpson scale only deals with wind, and the damage wind does is about the same above 156 miles per hour, although some scientists think the scale needs revising, Live Science previously reported. Meanwhile, record-breaking weather events, such as the 2018 heat wave in Japan that killed more than 1,000 people, are likely to become more common, Ward noted. For instance, in a 2018 study published in the journal Scientific Online Letters on the Atmosphere, researchers ran climate computer simulations and found that heat wave could not have happened without human-induced global warming. A 2020 study published in the journal Nature Communications also found heat waves are increasing around the world. Furthermore, although it sounds counterintuitive, global warming could be causing colder snaps. A 2021 study published in the journal Science found a warming Arctic and disruptions to the swirling cold winds above it, called the polar vortex, is linked to more extreme winters in the northern hemisphere, including the US, but climate scientists are still debating this link, Nature reported. Climate change may have the potential to disrupt the weather system so much that Earth turns into a chaotic world that can be fixed. Life Science previously reported a 2022 study published on the preprint database RSIV found that if we don't reduce our emissions, humans run the risk of Earth's temperature fluctuating chaotically in a way that's impossible to predict. So, what are we going to debate? What are we doing to combat climate change and stave off a future filled with more terrible weather? Nations around the world signed up the Paris Climate Agreement in 2015 and agreed to keep warming preferably below 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit and well below 3.6 Fahrenheit. But in 2022, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said at the Economist Sustainability Summit that 1.5 degree goal was on life support, and with continued emissions, we are sleepwalking to climate catastrophe. World leaders need to ensure that global carbon dioxide emissions begin declining by 2025 and are halved by 2030 if we are to stay within 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming, according to the latest Intergovernmental and Panel on Climate Change (IPCC) report, likely the last IPCC report before irreversible climate breakdown becomes avoidable. Life Science previously reported, "It's like we have suddenly become a protagonist in a science fiction movie. Only you can save civilization from global disaster," Ward said, but it's not science fiction. It is happening right now on Earth, and we have to take action seriously and kind of like contribute to the reduction of carbon dioxide, because to kind of like eliminate at least the worst consequences of climate change. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this. I'm pretty much really surprised by some news here, for example this one, but yeah.